I have not had a 5-star read since June. I have just seen on my spreadsheet. It has been since June that I have been reading 4 stars or below. And quite frankly, they've all been below. They've been basically hovering between a 2 and a 3. So I feel like I do need to do this video because I need to force myself to find a 5-star. Whether it's going to be this week, next week, this video will not end until I find a 5-star. So I do weekly videos, so I probably have already spoken about this book and you would have seen that I have started reading it. Maybe I've even finished this book by the time this actual video comes out because I don't know when I'm going to post this video. If you have not seen any of my other videos and you want to know what's going on with this book, I'm on page 90. This is basically about two best friends. It's based in the 80s and one of them gets possessed. And I'm at the point on page 90 where something's happened with Gretchen. She is the best friend of Abby and, you know, she is kind of acting a little odd. She is seeing things that aren't really there, and that's kind of as much as I've got. At this point in time, I'm not going to pull any other books for this. I'm just gonna go as I go. I am much more of a mood reader. I have done TBRs in the past. I did do a TBR for full, basically. So I do have a bunch of books that I do want to read over the next few weeks. However, if I feel like none of them are going to be 5 stars, maybe I should switch out what I'm doing. But because I really want to read some good books, I want to read some fantastic books. I want to read some books that really pull at my heartstrings, but also don't bore me to tears. Like, I like books that make me feel stuff, but I also don't want to be bored at the end of the day. So it's the next day and I've actually finished this. I've given this a 5-star on Goodreads. I do think it's a 4.5 though. Like, it was so good, but also I don't feel comfortable giving it a 5-star. It is just like almost there. So it's not even for the purpose of this video that I'm not giving it a 5-star. I want to give it a 5-star, and technically I have on Goodreads. This is a book about friendship at the end of the day. It is so sweet. It really surprises me that it's written by a man because it is all about the like 2 girls and their friendship, and obviously they're teenagers throughout the book, and I just found it so strange that such a book is written so well by a man, because how would they know what we experience as teenagers growing up and the type of friendships that we can have. I'm not saying that men can't have friendships. They have great friendships. They have their bromances, and I don't personally understand them either because I'm not a man. Like, I don't know what that feels like. So the fact that this is written in such a way that I can't like, how did he write this that it captured what I would feel to have a friendship like that? Oh my goodness, I was crying at the end of this book, and I just thought it was so sweet. The book in general is not super emotional. It is very campy. It is a lot of fun. It felt like I was watching a movie. It felt like I was just watching a movie that's like based in the 80s and 90s and just having a really good fun time with it. And it was fun. There were some moments in there where there were like grotesque moments, but it wasn't over the top. I don't think it was there for shock value either. I think they were fine to have in the story. I think there is one part of the story that I really did not appreciate, and that might be the reason why I'm not giving it a 5-star. In the context of the story, it made sense that it happened. Like, it made kind of sense that that would happen, but it just also didn't need to happen. Something else could have happened. I don't know if I mentioned previously, but I've already like started reading these. I don't think they're going to be 5 stars. I definitely don't think this one is going to be 5 stars. Sorry, this is Mistress of Lies by K.M. Enright. I've read the first chapter. I'm going to obviously read it, but I don't think, for the purpose of this video, I really don't think it's going to be a 5-star. I also read the first chapter of this one, The Whistling by Rebecca Netley. This one maybe has the potential of 5-star, but I was looking at this book, Nesting by C.J. Cook, and I've just been reading it just now, just seeing how it kind of starts off, and only on page 8, so no, nothing's going on. But this is a book, I think it takes inspiration, or there's like this, whatever story is in here is from Norse mythology, and I find that very interesting, and it's like more of a spookier book. I don't really personally know too much about it, but it does say at the back here, a gothic treat, and it says strange, creepy, truly scary, best read with the lights on. That's the type of vibe that I really want to go for. This potentially could be scary, the whistling, but I don't know. I think I'm liking the writing style of this straight away as I've just read the first few pages. Hopefully it's haunting, and I don't know. We'll see, but I just thought I would give an update. Anyway, bye. Excuse the makeup. I did just get some new makeup, and I just filmed a video for my other channel. I don't usually look this vampy and wild, but I'm kind of liking it. Anyway, so I don't have a huge update on this one. I am liking the writing a lot though. Written really well. So I'm only on page 36, which is chapter 4. So this is actually very similar to The Whistling, which I just started as well, but I only read that one chapter. This is about a girl who becomes a nanny. So the book's about girls who become nannies. The Whistling though is in the 1900s. No, the 19th century, 1800s. This one is modern day. This one, she is dealing with a lot of mental things. She's very depressed quite clearly, but I don't necessarily know as the reader why she's so depressed or so unhappy, but she's a very unhappy person. She ends up going on this job interview pretending to be someone else because she heard this person on the train that they were going to apply, and then her best friend was like, no, you cannot leave, and it's a job in Norway. And the girl that you follow in here, I can't remember her name, she's writing a book and it's all based in Norway. So she's like, serendipitous, I better go. And she actually goes on this job interview, pretends to be this girl that she heard on the train. There's other things too, but and then she basically gets the job. So that's where I'm at, and it sounds interesting. She's about to head off to Norway pretty much. She's gonna look after these 2 children. You do get a glimpse of what happened to their mother, like in the prologue. So now I know like who the mother is because I saw a glimpse of it. And, oh my god, I have this makeup like literally I'm finding it everywhere. It's kind of scaring because I don't want to get it all over my clothes. Anyway, so that's where I'm at, but I thought I'd do a little update. I will catch you probably when I'm like halfway through this, or maybe when I finished it and I let you know if it's a 5-star or not. But yeah, as I said, I'm not going to finish this video until I find a 5-star. If it takes me 6 months and this video is 4 hours long, I really am sorry. I'm sorry. But anyway. Okay, so I just wasn't going to do this update. I'm halfway through this book. I'm like page 218. And I have some suspicions, and I wanted to record it just in case I'm correct. So if you have any interest in reading this book, this potentially could be spoilers up ahead. So there is a lot of talk. Obviously there's 2 girls in this, like 2 young girls in this story. One's a baby, or like maybe 4 months, 5 months old. And the other one I think maybe 5 or 6. I'm not entirely sure how old she is. And there is a couple that works with the father of those 2 girls, and the guy is his business partner, and the girlfriend or wife of him is there at the house. And this book goes back and forth, so sometimes we see some chapters are now and some chapters say then, so we are going back and forth in the past. And I'm suspecting that there is something twisted going on with this couple because they've been going through rounds of IVF, and this woman called Derry has wanted kids, and she obviously doesn't have a child. And we just had a chapter where she and Aurelia, I think that's her name, the wife, the mother that dies in the beginning of the book, there was a chapter with them 2, and like comments about how they should be really good friends, but there was something off about it, and they never got as close as they felt like they could have. And Aurelia always thought that was because Derry couldn't have kids, and there was maybe some resentment there. So then I'm thinking, okay, there's also the housekeeper who doesn't like Derry, and we get little glimpses of that, but she really liked the mother. And now Derry is befriending the nanny to the point where like they're really pally, they're really good friends. I have a suspicion, and I don't know how it's gonna happen or what's entirely gonna happen. I have a suspicion that Derry and I think his name is Clive, they want, or at least Derry herself is behind something, she wants the children for herself. I like that. I'm just gonna put it out there. Like, there must be something going on. Like, yeah, there's ghosty stuff too, but I think that maybe it was orchestrated, because also the housekeeper told the nanny, I can't remember people's names. The housekeeper told the nanny that Tom, who is the father of the children, he felt compelled to come back to this place where his wife had, you know, committed suicide. He felt compelled to come back, and was also persuaded to come back. And we never found out who had persuaded him or why or how that happened, but it could be Clive and Derry. They're there, they're very pally-pally, they're trying to get kids. Clive seems a little bit more innocent, but Derry, I'm starting to get the sense, I'm just like in the middle of this chapter, and the thought popped in my head, I'm getting the sense that she's not quite innocent. And also, when the nanny mentioned, or do you actually think that she committed suicide, or do you think something happened to her? Her reaction was a little weird. I mean, not weird, but you could interpret it that she might have known more than she let on. So it's quite ambiguous. So I'm thinking something's going on with Derry. I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but I wanted to jump in here before I finish the book. I plan on finishing the book today. I do need to read like 200 pages to do that. No, less than 200 pages, but I think I can do it, because usually when I get to like halfway through the book, I kind of can steamroll ahead, and I actually have pretty much a free afternoon. So I think I'm going to read quite a bit, see how I get on, but that is my prediction. I think there's still like a ghost that is warning the nanny, and the ghost is somehow connected to things, but I think Derry is ultimately evil. I might be completely wrong, but yeah. Anyway, thanks. All right, you are dangling. I don't know if you're gonna stay there, but it is a Saturday. It is November 2nd. I did finish this a couple days ago. I finished it on Thursday, which was Halloween, and it wasn't a 5-star. I didn't think it was going to be a 5-star, but it wasn't a 5-star. I'm giving it a 3. I think ultimately it just fell short. I think there was so much potential with the story and what could have happened and what could have been. I was also wrong. Like, I thought I was giving a spoiler, like when I was like, I was gonna predict what's going on. I was wrong to an extent, but that's the thing about this story, like it just didn't really follow through with what I was hoping it would be. I thought it would be more, it would lean in more to the horror as opposed to, I don't know. It kind of just let me down. It let me down at the end, and I wanted it to be so much more than it was, and I just wish that the author had gone that much further, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. I can't really explain it. Maybe in a wrap-up video I can talk about it. But anyway, I'm currently reading this, which is a little bit similar. So this one obviously was about a girl who had to nanny these 2 girls because their mother passed away and everything, and there's a lot going on in there. This one is about a girl who becomes a nanny to a girl whose whole family, like her father and her mother had died, and now her brother had died, so she's like an orphan, but she's living with her aunt on this little island. And so I'm reading this. It's like, you know, it's got the vibes. It does. But this is in like the 19th century, and I don't know if I'm really feeling it. I'm only on page 61, so I haven't really got too far, but I don't really think it's going to be a 5-star. I'm going to continue reading it because I'm curious as to what kind of happens, but I'm going to take you on a little journey. We're going to pick another book for me to read. I'm feeling like I want to read a romance. Whether it's going to be a 5-star, probably not, but I'm kind of feeling I want to read a romance. All right, so could this angle be any worse? Probably. So I'm in front of my bookshelf here, and there's a few books that are like in my mind of what I kind of feel like reading that still follows the vibes of what I'm going for. So I don't think I'm gonna like this book, but I do have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I haven't really liked any of her books. Shock, I know. I've read 2 of them. I read Love Theoretically and The Love Hypothesis, and I gave them like 2.5. So I didn't really fall for like those stories. This one I believe is vampires and werewolves, and it's kind of weird, like in terms of like there's like a smutty scene that apparently is weird. That's all I know about it. And I've seen, you know, people say they're not really into it, which makes me feel like maybe I'll be into it. So I'm gonna maybe read this one. That one is definitely a contender, and I also think Ali Hazelwood is easy to read, and I think I need to read something that's a little bit easy at the moment. There's also this other book, this one, When the Moon Hatched, and I've seen a lot of people like this book, and so I kind of want to read either this one or Bride. I don't know anything about it. It's just like a big romantasy. It's over 500 pages, and I just don't know if it's for me. But what I am going to do is I'm going to read the first few chapters of both of these and see how I feel. Because I think like an easy romance is kind of what I want. I also do have Foxglove, which I really liked, Belladonna, by Adeline Grace. But I mean, that could be a 5-star because I really enjoyed Belladonna. I did give it 3.5, but I really enjoyed it. It just had some things that were missing from the story that I felt could have made it a little bit better. But the way that it ended and how it made me feel at the end, I was just like, ooh, I really can't wait to read the next book. So maybe Foxglove as well. But I don't want to just, like, when I read that, I want to like enjoy it. And I don't want to read it at the same time as reading a bunch of other books. So I think I'm going to leave that for another time. Although it might be a 5-star. Maybe we'll come back to it. I'm about halfway. I've read 152 pages of Bride. I was going to read 1 or 2 chapters of each book, and I just ended up just reading this book. I didn't even open up the other one, but maybe I'll read that the next. This is just so easy to read. I don't even know if I'm enjoying it at this point. I can't not be enjoying it, but I think it's not necessarily a problem, but I think people like Ali Hazelwood and books like she writes and other authors that are in the similar vein is that they're just so easy to read. You get through them super fast. So I think your brain tricks you into thinking, well, if I'm reading it super fast, I must love this book. But here's the thing. There's nothing particularly unique about reading a lot of these stories because they're all kind of formulaic and all the same, and there's never really a surprise. So I find myself, I'm reading this and I'm like waiting for them to get together. Like that's what I'm finding myself, and that's what I'm finding intriguing. And I think that's the trap for these types of books and other books like this, and all the slow burn books as well. So it's not that I'm not enjoying this. I think I'm actually enjoying this more than her other books that I've read, which is surprising. I didn't know I was really into werewolves. But I will say that I cannot picture Lo. Lo is obviously love interest, right? And all he is very big. He's very big and large and striking. But I can't picture him. Like I can't. And I don't think she's described him enough for me to put all the pieces together. And I think that's been on purpose because what she wants us to do as readers is fill in the blanks to what we think a striking, hunky, big man's gonna look like. But I want to know, is he like super hairy? Like he's a werewolf. Like how hairy is he? Like I want to know all these things. I want to know, does he have a beard? Like I honestly don't feel like I know anything about what he looks like. I don't even know what color his eyes are. Maybe I've missed it. Oh, maybe they're blue. But like, she doesn't talk about his eyes. Like when her name is Misery in the story, which is funny, she has only spoken about his eyes once. And all it's ever is like his bone structure and he's striking and he's big. Stupid. But I'm not enjoying it, but I'm also like, I'm falling into the trap because I keep reading. Like I was like, I think page 80 or like 90, and I was like, okay, fine. One more chapter, I'll put it down. One more chapter, I'll put it down. I kept thinking that this morning. One more chapter, I'll put it down. I got to 150, I'm on chapter 12. They still haven't got together or anything. There's like a little bit of, I wouldn't say like, there's a little bit of tension, but, you know, we as the reader know what's going on. Obviously, like clearly it's obvious that she is her mate. like, sorry, spoiler, but she is her mate and she doesn't realize that. And he obviously knows straight away that she is, because he can smell her on the wedding day. It's fine. I mean, I've read a lot of stories now about mates, so that's fine. Like, thanks to Sarah J. Maas, I know all about that. But with a werewolf and a vampire, it's a little bit different. And I think I know what the twist is going to be. So we will wait to see how that fares. But I think I know already if there is a twist. I mean, we already know kind of like those interspecies relationships and offspring from there. And so I'm thinking that there might be something that's happened to Misery for her too. Because like, how would a vampire be his mate? He is a werewolf, or a were is what they're called. We don't use the words werewolf, and we don't use the words vampire. We say vampire. Whatever. I'm assuming that she is half, because his sister is half human and were, and I'm assuming that potentially Misery is half vampire and were, and that's why she is her mate, and she smells the way she smells. She thinks she smells really badly. She thinks he's really repulsed by her. She's kind of dense, because this is the thing. Like, I would really enjoy this story if I felt like the girl that I'm following was a little bit smarter than she is. She's 25 years old. She should be able to like pick up on the fact that he's not actually repulsed by her. It's something else. And then you would get that. I'm not expecting anything different because it's Ali Hazelwood and her writing and stuff. Not to diss anyone who likes it. I think it's just very easy reading. And if that's the way that you like reading, that's fine. Sometimes you need a book that's really easy to read. And I completely get it. Like, this is definitely helping me read at the moment. Whenever I feel like I'm going through a reading slump, I always feel like I need to read a romance, something like this that is just really, really easy. So anyway, rant over. I don't think it's going to be a 5-star, so I have to figure out what else I'm going to read. I guess I'll read the other one, When the Moon Hatched, or something like that. But I will finish this first today and then talk to you in my next update. Hey guys, so it's been a few days. I don't actually know the last time that I spoke to you, but I did finish Bride and I gave it 4 stars. So I will eat my words. Is it the best book ever? No. But did I thoroughly enjoy it? Yeah, I did. I actually kind of like the romance. I think this is the first romance, and I don't know if I should be embarrassed to say this or not, but I think this is the first romance that I've read from Ali Hazelwood that didn't give me ultimate cringe. And being as they are vampires and werewolves, and there's a little weird knotting stuff going on. If you know, you know. A lot of people, I think that was what was in the book that a lot of people were freaked out about. Or not even freaked out about, but like grossed out, or just didn't like. And I kind of realized that like once I read it, I was like, oh, this is what people were saying. But for me, honestly, like, whatever. Yeah, it's stupid. Is it sexy? No, but whatever. I honestly feel like I did enjoy this book. And I'm not too embarrassed to say that, but it's not a 5-star. So I will continue trying to find my 5-star. I think I'll put my actual thoughts in a wrap-up video, or like a weekly vlog, because I can't really think, like, I finished this like 4 days ago and I haven't picked up another book. I mean, I have a bunch of books that I've like started reading. I did start reading When the Moon Hatched, but I have to say, I find the writing really weird, and I don't really get, I didn't really enjoy, I think I read like maybe 2 chapters. I didn't really enjoy what was going on, so I'm straight away not sure if I like that. And then I did see like some criticism is that like it's so convoluted and written in such a strange way, like the world itself, like it doesn't make any sense. So I don't know, we'll see. But I did actually pick this one back up, The Mistress of Lies. I know, like, I only read the 1 chapter and was like, oh, I think it's going to be a DNF. I'm on page 50 at the moment. I'm just in the middle of the chapter because I've been reading it, but then I need to get ready to go out soon. And, you know, it's not so bad, actually. The first chapter, I think, was the worst. But we're following Sean, who is a blood worker, but she's like a royal blood worker. So she's just taken over her father's sort of like legacy in I don't know. I don't get the world yet. So I'm trying to figure it out. And then we have another person who is called Samuel, and he's not a blood worker, but he's hiding something. He's hiding some magical thing in his blood. We don't know what it is. So I imagine he's going to be the love interest, obviously, because I do think this is a romance, or like a romantasy. So I actually have kind of been reading lists on and off, obviously, because I'm only on page 50. I really I haven't read anything since I finished Bride. Just been a busy week. And so the only thing I have read is this book. So yeah, not a lot, but I read a little bit again this morning and I'm kind of enjoying it. I think it's fine. So there's that. That's where I'm at. So it's been several days, probably a week since I last update you. I haven't found any 5 stars, but what I have done is I have started reading Fourth Wing and I'm enjoying it. I'm more than halfway through. I'm listening to it though. And I think that's why I'm enjoying it, because I'm doing other things. I think if I were reading this book, I would find the language very simplistic, and I think the writing is not like out of this world. But I'm enjoying the story, and I don't know why everyone hates on it. Like, it's not going to be a 5 star, but I think I might give it a 4 star. Like, I'm actually enjoying it. I'm at the point where obviously she's bonded with her dragons, and she just got, she just like got over like a bunch of group of people tried to kill her while she was sleeping. And I can see now why people don't like Zane. Is it Zane or Dane? I can't remember his name, but her childhood friend is very annoying, and he's written in a way where we're not supposed to like him. So when I first started the book, I was like, I don't know why she's gonna like this other guy, but I kind of get why now. So I followed into it, and I don't mind it. I think like comparing it to other books, oh my god, I look so awful today. Comparing it to other books that I have been reading, it's really not that bad. It's not worse than other ones. So I've been reading that. I tried to get into this Lucy Score one, things we hide from the light, but I have to say, I think I'm going to DNF this. I've only got to page 38, but I really didn't like the first book, and I have the third book. So this is the second book, and it's just like, it's not like a continuation, but characters from the first book are in this one, and it's like one of those romances where the side characters suddenly get their own book and everything. So this is following the brother of the guy in the first book, and I really didn't like the guy in the first book because he was so crash, and like when you were in his POV, he was always like talking about like what she looked like in a very sexual. I just didn't like it. And this one, I was hoping that would be a little bit different, because I thought his brother in the first book was quite a bit nicer and the type of person that I probably would go for. He was a little bit more proper. And I don't know. But he's kind of miserable in this book, and I don't think it's working for me. And obviously he's going to get with his brother's ex, like childhood ex-girlfriend, because we're in her perspective too, and she is more of, I guess, the dangerous character, and he is the sheriff. But he's very, very miserable because I guess he got shot and he just feels like he's worthless. I don't know. I don't get the character change. Like, I feel like his whole personality has shifted and changed. And I've only read like almost 40 pages, and I'm not into it at all. So I don't know. I don't even think it's really worth me reading these books, because I really did not care for the writing. The fact that they were so enormous for a romance too. Also, there's always these side plots of like something sinister going on. Like it happened in the first book where there's the romance, but then there's like crime happening, and this one is going to be the same thing, and I imagine the third one will be the same, and I don't care. So sadly, I think this is going to be a DNF, and I think I'm going to have to unhaul the other one, which is such a shame, because like these books are quite fun to have, but they're not for me. So this one, sadly, going over here, this is where I keep all the books that I've read for the month. It's not been a lot to say. There's only one book that I've read, and I've DNF'd another book, so it's like, I don't even know what's going on. But yeah, that is where I'm at. So I think I'm gonna read Fourth Wing. I'll probably finish it. I have about maybe 5 hours left of the Audible book. So, and I'm listening to the dramatization of it, and I think that's been helping me. Oh, I got this, just came in the mail today. This is a 1 line a day, a 5-year memory book. And I'm going to start this in January. This is going to be like one of my New Year's resolutions. So what you do is for like every single day, you write a little note of what happened. And then obviously the next year of that day, I write a little note. It's very small. I wish it were a little bit bigger, but I couldn't really find any that I really liked. And the ones that I did like wouldn't ship out to Portugal, so that was a shame. Anyway, so I'm really excited because I wanted to start this earlier, but I figured, nah, it starts in January, let's just start it in January. It's going to be one of my New Year's resolutions. Just a little bit more of like, I want to be a little bit more mindful, and I want to work on my my mental health a little bit. And not that I'm like in a bad place, but I do feel as though there are like today I'm having a bad day, and that's like I had my makeup on and I just wiped it all off because I was just not feeling it. So I think I'm going to listen to Fourth Wing right now and play some World of Warcraft. I listened to a lot of it yesterday playing World of Warcraft, and it really, really helped me through. And I'm all alone at home at the moment, so I have like no responsibility for the next couple of hours. So I think I'm going to be able to get through quite a bit. I do have my dog around, but other than that, my partner and my son have gone out, and yeah, I think I just need this time alone. I really wish I were reading more. I think the problem that I'm having is I'm not wanting to sit down and read because my mind is kind of a little bit all over the place. And like I said, I'm struggling quite a bit, and I felt like I was going into a reading slump last week. And I probably am, because every book I pick up, I don't want to read it. But listening to a book has actually been really, really helpful. So once I'm done with Fourth Wing, I'll probably listen to another book. I might try to see, even though I have to waste a credit, which is not really something I want to do, but I might see if they have the Audible version of this, like a dramatization, because I find them to be quite entertaining. It's like it's like there's a movie on in the background and you're not necessarily watching it, but you are listening to it. That's literally how I feel. It doesn't feel like I'm reading a book. That's why I said if I actually had the Fourth Wing book in front of me, I would probably find that, like even I can tell like some of the writing when I'm listening to it is a little bit cringy and repetitive, but I'm still entertained. Are you not entertained? I feel like I'm entertained. So I might see if they have a version of that for this, or maybe something else. I think that like what works with the Fourth Wing one is because it is over like produced, that it's kind of adds a little bit more as opposed to being pretty dry narration that you would get from other books. And I don't know what I think I just need that at the moment. I don't know. I'm feeling pretty down today, so I'm gonna try to pick myself back up, and obviously still want to get a 5-star read, but I just don't know if that is really on the cards for me. I don't know. I mean, there are certain books that I have on my TBR that I think would be 5 stars. And I don't know why I'm not wanting to read them, but I'm not. So actually, I think I might have to make some coffee and then I'm going to go play. But yeah, that's a little update from me. So not like the best start. I don't know if I have seasonal depression as well, because I am the type of person who doesn't feel like I get seasonal depression, but I'm starting to think actually I probably do, because when the weather is crap, I get really miserable. So that's like a sign. And I don't know, I'm not in the Christmas spirit this year. Like, we put the tree up and everything, and I'm just still not feeling it. I don't even know when I'm gonna post this. I might even post this like months, I'm gonna say years, months later. I don't know when I'm gonna read a 5-star, and so this might take a really long time. But it is November. I can't remember. I started this in October, so it's been a few weeks. No, it is the 16th of November, so we're like midway through the month already. Oh my god, it's so scary. Like this year, like everybody says, oh my god, the year is going by so fast. How are we in November? But literally, how are we in November? And then I'm sure I'll talk to you in a couple of weeks in this vlog, and I'll be like, how is it the end of the year already? How is it January? January for me takes like 2 years to get through. January is always so long. I do have some pretty exciting things happening though come the new year, like a little bit of change in my life that I feel like is going to do wonders for my mental health and everything like that. So I can't really talk about that because I don't want to jinx it, and also I just don't want to share at the moment. So we'll see. But yeah, that's where I am with the reading update, and I will catch you another time. Okay, so it has been about a week, maybe even longer than that. I don't know where this video is going, but I have read Fourth Wing now from Rebecca Yarros, and I gave it a 4-star. And I've spoken about that in like other videos, but like I think for the purpose of this video, I have not spoken about that. I really genuinely enjoyed it. I listened to it. I listened to the like action-packed dramatization that they have on Audible. Sorry, I'm just going to like reposition you because you're a little low. And I'm listening to Iron Flame right now. And I've got about 3 hours left, and I'm just listening to normal speed. I don't really listen to like the sped up version. And I've seen some memes going around. If they are endgame, if Xaden and Violet are endgame, they honestly have a very toxic relationship. Like they're constantly bickering. It's getting to the point now where I'm just like this whole book has been different from the first book, and I can see why people have now rated the second book really low compared to the first book, because I genuinely enjoyed the first book. So I gave it a 4-star, and I was like, it was exciting. Like I liked all the action, and I thought, why do people hate on this book? Yes, it's corny in places. Is it the best written book? No. But is it entertaining? Yes. I mean, why wouldn't you like it? Sometimes you just want to be entertained. And it wasn't a 5-star, obviously. So that's like the purpose of like why I haven't really updated you in this video. But Iron Flame, definitely not gonna be a 5-star. Oh my goodness. Like right now, 3 hours left, and they're bickering, and she's asked him about his second signet, and I'm just thinking like, why are you guys fighting so much? Like, I don't get it. And so I can see now why people are like, they're not endgame. Like, they're not. Like, how can they be? How are they gonna fix this? How are they gonna fix it? Obviously there's a third book, and apparently it's gonna be like 5 books. So if this goes on for 3 more books of them bickering, oh my goodness, I don't think I could take it. Anyway, so I don't know what happens. I don't know what the spoilers is. I'm going to continue listening. I'll probably finish the book today because I have been like totally binging it. I've been listening to it while I work. And I've also been listening to it just playing games on my tablet at night. And I even got the little badge from Audible that you get for listening like 5 hours straight. So like I'm like totally like binging it right now. And I don't know, I just wanted to say like this is really toxic, like them arguing all the time, and they're always arguing about the same thing. And couples do that. Like that is a real thing, and it is exhausting, and it is tiring and boring. But as a reader, it's not interesting. It's not doing it for me. And then, they fight, and then they like get together, and it's just like, I don't know, I'm not feeling it. And she's just said to me, how can I love you if I don't even know you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I don't know Xaden either. Like, we don't really know much of his personality. What do we actually know about him? Like, I feel like I know Dane a little bit better. I know people hate on him, but I feel like I know who he is as a person with his flaws and everything. Xaden, I guess he's supposed to be this dark, mysterious guy who obviously is like doing stuff, like he's part of the rebellion, but like it's for the betterment of his people and stuff, and he's like righteous and all this stuff, and he's definitely got the martyr complex though, honestly, and he's very annoying. Like I actually wouldn't mind if she went and fell in love with somebody else. I'm just saying, although I don't know who it would be, because I really like Liam in the first book, but obviously we know what happens with Liam, and that really like that was upsetting because I think he would have been perfect. And yeah, I don't actually ship this relationship at all. So I don't know what I'm going into in the next 3 hours. But the third book is called Onyx Storm or something like that, and she's always talking about his onyx eyes. So I think it's going to be centered more around Xaden, hopefully, because I feel like in this book, he's definitely been missing in action quite a lot. And I think that's also the reason why I feel like I still don't really know him, because we get glimpses of him, but when we get glimpses of him, it's really just their like passionate lovemaking and like not really much about his personality. Like, does he joke? Does he have a personality? I find humor very attractive, you know, in a person. And you know, looks can only really get you so far. Like, you gotta have something going, you know, you gotta be witty, you gotta have something. And there doesn't seem to be much of that in these characters, which is a little bit of a shame. So yeah, I think if I had to rate this book, I'd probably give it a 3-star. It's not terrible, it's just I have been kind of, you know, losing concentration, and then I suddenly start listening again, and I feel like I can pick up where we are and I'm not missing out on too much. So I do feel like it's probably too long and there's probably a little bit too much. Yeah, it's not as exciting as the first book or interesting as the first book. But anyway, I just wanted to jump on here. I don't know if I'm going to read a 5-star this month. I keep saying that. It is November 20th. No, it's the 21st today. So I started this in October. So yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna finish the book. I am working right now, but wanted to just give you my thoughts, because they were just arguing right now, and I'm listening to them. I'm like, what the hell am I listening to? It's like I'm listening to a couple, and I got like a little bit of secondhand embarrassment, or just boredom too, and like frustration. And I just feel like telling them to shut up. But anyway, okay, so I will probably come back once I'm done and maybe start a new book, because as I said, I don't see this being a 5-star. I don't really know what I'm going to read after this. We will see. We will get through it. Maybe December I will read a 5-star. Who knows? Who knows? I do have a bunch of books coming, so I'm excited about some of them. I actually ordered Quicksilver, and as much as I've seen people diss it, I also have seen a few people who I kind of trust in what they have to say. So I'm hoping that I like it, but I need to put some like lip stuff. I did all my makeup, and then I was like, no, I'm not going to put any lip stuff because I'm going to be drinking. But I'm very pale here, and like... So I finished Iron Flame, and as much as I really wanted to like it, and I wanted to maybe go against the grain, I can see why everyone rated this book really low. I think compared to the first one, I think the first one is entertaining. Is it the best written book? No, but I think it's very entertaining, and you kind of get sucked into, like, I don't know, the ending of Fourth Wing was really good, and there was a lot of action, and I feel like Iron Flame really concentrated more on their toxic relationship with Xaden and Violet, and also like the jealousy that Violet had, because it kind of introduces an ex-girlfriend of Xaden in the story, and I thought all of that, I just think it went back and forth a little too much with that side of it, and didn't really concentrate on the plot all that much. Although we did obviously advance the plot, I did find myself zoning out quite a bit. I think that's fair. It's a 3. The first one was a 4 for me. And I don't think it's like a 2-star, because I still like listened to the whole thing and enjoyed parts of it. So I think that's fair enough. I am in the middle of 4 books at the moment, which is kind of bizarre for me, because usually I'm a 1-book kind of person. I really find it hard to concentrate on multiple books at the same time, but I don't know what it is. This week I've just been wanting to read and just getting bored with certain things that I've been reading. So I've been went back to The Whistling, which I did try to start like a month ago, and I read a little bit more of that. I'm on page 181, which is just a little under halfway through, and really not much has happened in the last 100 pages. It's still like the story is still where we left off. We know a little bit about what happened with the boy. So basically, just to recap, because I don't even remember if I've even spoken about the story of this, but it's about this girl who becomes a nanny for this little girl on a Scottish island. It's in the 1900s, and like oh no, maybe late 1800s. I don't really know. No, I think it's early 1900. And this girl is basically living with her aunt. She's an orphan now because her parents are dead and her brother died recently. And she's young. She's like a little 8-year-old or whatever, and she's not speaking at all. It's quite eerie, this book, and there's a lot of like atmosphere stuff. I do like the atmosphere. It's like a dark, not a dark, but it's like a haunting book. What is the verb? I don't know what I'm talking about. It's like a gothic horror, I think. Well, it's supposed to be. I think it's trying to be. Anyway, but nothing much has really happened. We've learned that Hetty, who used to be the babysitter or the governess or whatever, we've learned that she was into witchcraft and potentially was somehow involved with William, who is the young boy's death. Because our girl that we follow, Elspeth, she's been told by a local in town that he because everyone's like he fell off a cliff. And she's been told it wasn't an accident. So she's kind of trying to figure it out, but also at the same time, not really. She's just trying to concentrate on being a good like nanny. I don't think I'm explaining this book very well because it honestly, like, what I've just told you just sounds really boring. But we have learned that William was an evil child, apparently, allegedly, and he would carry around a whistle. It was like a special whistle made from bone and skin. Preferably, the ones that work the best are from human bone, but we don't know if it's human bone or animal bone. Oh yeah, and apparently he would like kill animals and stuff, whatever. And again, he was like a 7 to 9-year-old. I'm assuming he was around that age. I'm not entirely sure. There's that. So then there's like whisperings, or like it's trying to be implied that potentially him and Hetty were involved in some sort of witchcraft with Satan and all that stuff. And not entirely sure if that's the case. I do feel like we don't trust the aunt who like they're living with at the moment. She's very cold. She doesn't really seem to love the young girl, and she doesn't seem to really miss the young boy at all. So there's that, but that also could be a red herring where, you have a character who is disliked, but they're generally not the bad one. And then you have she's not a servant, but she works there. She is really rude to Elspeth and obviously hiding something, and has a close relationship with the aunt. So I'm not entirely sure where it's going. It's a little bit of a mystery at the moment. But yeah, I'm hoping that it gets a little bit better. Right now I'm reading like maybe 10, 15 pages and then I'm putting it away. So I'm obviously, it's not like it's not one of these books that you can binge read, I don't think, because it's not very exciting. It's like, it's really quite slow, but I'm not enjoying it, if that makes sense. It's just not really getting anywhere. So anyway, I've been reading that, and I've also decided to read the lowest rated book on my shelves, because this is a book that I picked up last year because honestly it was like a hyped new seller, especially in like the UK. So I thought, okay, this is going to be good. And then I think when people started reading it after I bought it, it just got like terrible reviews. And it is The List by Yomi Adegoke. I think that's how you say her name. She is an award-winning like British journalist and author. This is her first like debut like fictional work. And I have to say, like, I'm kind of seeing why people have rated this really low. I think it's like a 3.1 something on Goodreads, which is definitely the lowest book on my shelves. And honestly, she's just been taking up space. It's one of my hardbacks, and I put my hardbacks that I haven't read at the top of my bookshelf, and I've just been like staring at it for a good 9 months thinking, when am I going to read this? Am I going to read this? So I thought, let me just start reading this book, get it over with, because I don't like unholing books without reading them, or at least trying to get through them, unless they're part of a series and I just don't enjoy the series, or the actual author and I've already read from them. But I've never read from her. I don't know anything about it. So I'm on page 113, and this is based in London, And it is about this couple, and basically they are like 30 days away from having their wedding. They're really they get along really well and stuff. And one morning they wake up to all these messages from their friends and family and coworkers and whatnot saying, have you seen the list? Oh my God, what is going on? And it turns out the man in the relationship is on this list of men who have either, sexually harassed women, or who have done worse to women, who have maybe restraining orders, or have been verbally abusive, physically abusive, just all the crappy stuff that can happen. He ends up on this list. She has no idea why, but she's very skeptical. She's also a journalist, and she's been tasked to report on this list, and her boss asked her to do it without knowing that her fiance is actually on the list. And so for the first 100 pages or so, you're flipping between the two different perspectives of him and her. And he is definitely hiding something because he knows who potentially put him on the list. And he hasn't been the best boyfriend. He has been unfaithful. And obviously, this is more like spoilers, but I don't imagine anyone's going to want to read this because it's just rated so low. But if you are going to read it, I'm sorry, I'm kind of spoiling it. But I'm only on page 113, so there's not really much going on. And so there's back and forth, and every chapter, it's gets closer to the wedding. So I think right now I'm 11 days to the wedding. So they haven't called off the wedding, but she really doesn't trust him because she's like, well, why are you on the list if this is not true? And there's some famous people on the list. They're not famous, but they are known. She is a known journalist, and they have lots of followers on Instagram or something. I don't quite understand how they're so well known, but he also has followers too. So whatever, they're just probably a D-list couple that people would know and follow online. And so it's not they can really remain anonymous about the situation. And all the while her friends are, saying you should leave him because she's an activist. She's a women's activist. So she has been part of discourse and a lot of talk and interviews and written essays about women in these situations and how you have to trust women over the men and blah, blah, blah. And now that she's put in this situation, she's kind of on the back foot of it, and she's wanting to believe her man, but she's also at the same time has that morality, guilt of not believing that this could be true because his name has been put on this list. But the list was not verified. It's a Google list that somebody posted on Twitter and then removed after 24 hours. But obviously people screenshot it and stuff. So it's not, there's no it's just some random person who put the list up, which I could do, anybody could do. But there's this whole thing where, well, what is probably what if it is true? Are you going to dismiss 100 women just because you think your boyfriend or fiance is not part of this list? I don't know. It's kind of, it's I see what it's trying to do. It's trying to flip the conversation on its head where, I don't know if it's doing it in a good way though, but it's basically questioning if you really should trust all of the victims, or you should also maybe trust them. I don't mean the men. I'm not entirely sure because the book is written by a woman and she's a Black woman, and obviously there's a lot of Black references in here where they're this Black powerful couple, and they were even tied to being in an article with I think Jay-Z and Beyonce and all that stuff. There's a lot of conversation around that, but I'm not entirely sure where the book is going to go and what the outcome is going to be. I've seen on Goodreads that a lot of the negative comments is that it does seem like it sways more towards, we shouldn't trust everything that we hear. And sometimes there is stuff that's untrue about, the accused. But then I don't know if I'm explaining, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I really care enough about the story so far to really judge it yet. It's honestly very easy to read. I will say that. Like, it's super easy, and so I am kind of flying through it. Also, it's a small book, but I think if I had to rate it right now, I would give it a 2, because it's not very entertaining, and the whole like 100 pages that I've read so far has just been like them going back and forth. Where is this true? Because he's even gone to like the police, because he was on the list. He's like, it says what they've been accused of, and it says restraining order, but he doesn't have a restraining order against him. So we know that there is untruth to it, but we also know he has been unfaithful, and he does say some very questionable stuff about his past and how he's treated women in the past. Not like a physically violent way, but just in a like rude, disrespectful way. So I definitely don't like the character, but I also don't like her, because I find her I'm putting myself in the situation, and if I'm about to marry someone, I'm at that point where I like my trust levels are like sky high, right? If I saw my partner on a list, my first thing, I mean, what would I do? I don't, like, that's the thing. Like, what would you actually do? I don't actually know. My gut would be I would not go against them immediately, but obviously I would want to know the truth. So in a way, I feel like she's doing what everyone would do, but then she has all this outside voice telling her what she should do. Like, one of her friends is like, you should absolutely like leave and blah, blah, write the article, talk shit about him, blah, blah, blah. And then her other friend is like, well, come on, give her some time. She's trying to work it out and stuff. So I'm not entirely sure what I would do, to be fair, in this situation. But I just don't think it's a book that I ultimately care about. So far the message behind the book hasn't been very strong in terms of what it is trying to say. So I'm hoping that by the end of the book, I have a clear understanding of what the author is trying to say. I'm assuming she's trying to give a general view of like the cancel culture and the Me Too movement and all of that. But I think ultimately, just from what I've read with other reviews, it kind of backfires. Like, she hasn't done it in a good way, or she's done it in a way where people just disagree with her, with what she's trying to say. So I don't really know where I stand, but at the same time, I don't know if I even ultimately care about what's going on in the book. Not about that discourse, but just, I don't know. I can't really explain it. It just hasn't hooked me, but it's been very easy to read so far. All right. And then yesterday I started reading The Dagger and the Flame by Catherine Doyle. This one this is Fairy Loot. Yeah, Fairy Loot I got recently, and it's actually kind of fun. So it is YA, but I don't mind YA books if they're written in a good way. And basically, it's set in this city called Fontaine, or Fontum, and it's about these basically cloaks and daggers. It's a take on the cloaks and daggers term. So there's this group that are the daggers, and what they do is they're basically like killers or like assassins, and they take what's called the spark. It's like I would want to say it's like a drug that enhances their killing ability, and basically the more that you take it, the more it like feeds off of your body and your soul and whatever. So there's like the daggers, and then the cloaks are the ones that are like, they're like master of thieves, but they don't take that drug, they steal it to get it off the street. So it's basically the good versus the bad. And our girl, Seraphine, I think her name is Seraphine in this, she's just turned 18, and her mother has just been killed, and her mother was basically a drug, not smuggler, but like she distributed the drugs in the town, and I think made it and stuff. And she's just been murdered by a dagger. And Seraphine comes home and she sees her mother on the floor. There's a big fire and she sees a dagger male standing there having just killed her mother, right? So she runs and runs and runs. She has like a three-legged dog. And it sounds kind of silly what I'm saying, but it's actually kind of fun. And so she had been told by her mother previously, if anything happens to me, go to the cloaks. So she's gone to the cloaks now. And we're just learning a little bit about them. There's two girls there that have kind of befriended her, and they're taking her out on a little sort of thieving crash course because she has to prove herself to be a cloak in order to stay there. So she has to become a thief. But she's basically like asked for sanctuary because she doesn't really have a home to go to anymore, and she doesn't have any other family and whatnot. So that's kind of where we are. And then also we are in a different POV with a man called Ransom, which the name is so silly, but I'm just gonna like leave it there. And he is a dagger, and he has been tasked to murder her. Like he's been given a task, because obviously he's an assassin, and he has been ordered to murder the girl. So he did kind of follow her in the shadows, and watch that when she was running through the town to go to the cloak house. I don't know how to, it just sounds so silly, but he was following her, watching her, and he is just going to wait for a time to murder her. But also, this is an enemies to lovers, so they're obviously going to fall in love. So there's that. So from what I've said, it might not sound very interesting, but I'm actually really enjoying it. I find that it's quite easy to read as well. So this one, I'm on page 61, so not really far. But yeah, I've just been reading a few pages at a time. So that one I started reading. And then I did mention that I'm reading another book. I don't know why I'm reading 4 books at the same time, but I noticed on Audible that there are some, like I have Audible Plus, which maybe I've always had, but I've just been stupid about it, where you can listen to books for free, right? Depending on what books they have in that section. So they had a few books there, and I've added them to my library where I didn't have to pay a credit for them or buy them. And one of them is A Touch of Darkness. Now, I don't really know anything about this series. I know that there's 4 books, and I think the last one is like in the Good Choice Awards, like as a nominee for romantasy. But anyway, I saw this book there, and I thought, and it could still be, I might be wrong, I thought this was like a dark fantasy or like a dark romance, and I thought it'd be like a quick, easy listen, because I've been really like enjoying listening. Since Fourth Wing, I've been like wanting to listen to something else, and I've just been really like getting back into audiobooks. So I started listening to that last night, and I'm about 40% in, which is crazy because I'm not listening to it on like a fast speed. I listen to like the standard speed, because unless they speak very slowly or it's very boring, I generally like listening to the normal speed of things. And it's a retelling of Persephone and Hades. I don't think I've read any Greek retellings, I have to be honest. And I'm not super familiar with Greek mythology, aside from what we learned at school, which I didn't really pay attention at school either. It's definitely not something that I am familiar with, although I do know that like the basics of Persephone and Hades, where he like traps her in the underworld. Like that's kind of all I know. And I know there's a lot of books that just take that story and do what they want with it, basically. And a lot of them are like dark romances. So I thought this was going to be a dark romance. It still could be. I'm not entirely sure. But from what I'm seeing so far, it just seems like a dark romance fantasy, but not really. There's not a lot of emphasis on the dark side of it. It's kind of a modern world, because they talk about copies and stuff, but like the gods live among the mortals, and but people don't always know what they look like because they can glamour themselves. So Persephone has like a normal mortal job, and she's a journalist, and she's not a journalist, she's studying to be. She's actually got an internship at a journalist place, and she goes to this party that her friend is invited to, that the club owner is basically Hades, and they meet, and she knows that he like puts people under contract and stuff, but she still speaks to him anyway. And obviously they fancy the pants off each other, blah, 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 blah. And she ends up in a contract with him where she has to bring life to the underground. And and if she doesn't, then basically her soul is his or whatever. I don't know. It's so stupid how it all happened, but that basically all happened. They've already like kissed a bunch of times, but it's more about like him taking control of her. I don't know. I guess it is a dark romance, but it's not like he doesn't seem to be a horrible person, because everybody who's close to him tells her how wonderful he is. And you can just see that it's one of these stories where to the outside world, he wants to portray himself to be this dark god who doesn't care and is very vicious and stuff. But to his inner circle, he's actually a nice person. So anyway, I mean, I don't know. I not really much has happened. She's basically trying to garden in the underworld. It's so silly. But that's kind of what I'm listening to right now. And I don't know. I mean, I listened to a lot of it yesterday. I have about 6 hours left. So we'll see. Probably finish it today or tomorrow, because I'm really listening to my audiobooks quite a lot. I worry about where to put my credits. I do have quite a lot of credits on Audible, but I just don't want to spend money, and I just feel as though I wasted like 4 credits on the fourth week because I listened to the dramatization. Are any of these going to be 5 stars? I think The Dagger and the Flame could be. I recently went on my Goodreads and I put together a list of my 5-star predictions based on like the books that I have on my to be read, either in that list or on my actual physical TBR. And I do think this potentially could be a 5-star. And since reading and starting it depends on how the enemies to lovers trope goes, because I do generally like that if it's done well. So I think it's going to be dependent on that, to be fair, and then we'll see. So yeah, quick little recap of everything that I am reading and have been reading. And yeah, I have to film my sort of like weekly reading recap tomorrow. Maybe I'll do that today. So it would be nice to be able to finish one of these books before then, so that I can start another one. I'm definitely not in a reading slump. I was in a reading slump a couple weeks ago, but I think since listening to Fourth Wing, something has happened and it's helped me. And that's always the case. Like once you read a book and you quite enjoy it, I did quite enjoy it. I think also mixing between the medias, having an actual physical book and audiobook has helped, because during that week, I really didn't want to pick up a book, but I was able to listen to one. So when I want to listen to a book, at least I can listen to it. And then when I actually feel like reading, then I have it here. What I will say about A Touch of Darkness, which I'm finding very, very annoying, and I don't know if I would notice it as much if I had the physical version of the book, but the author writes the character name for everything. So it's like Persephone did this, Persephone did that, Persephone did that, Persephone thought this, Persephone did that. Very repetitive. It is getting on my nerves a little bit just listening to it. I don't see why she can't just say she. Like, why can't she say she? Why do we need to repeat her name 10 times on a page? I swear, if I had the physical book, I would want to read how many times she has Persephone on one page, because I think it's like 50 times. It's just kind of ridiculous. And that style of writing, I really don't enjoy. So that's that's definitely a con to listening to it as opposed to potentially me reading the physical copy. But whatever, it's fine. I'm noting that in my head. That does seem a little excessive. Okay, I realize that the lighting in this video is probably going to be really bad in this little clip, but I've been listening to A Touch of Darkness. I think I like it. I think I like it. Oh my goodness. I do. I think I like it. I'm not quite sure which chapter I'm on, but I like Hades. Like, I know I'm supposed to like him because it's a romantasy, but... And also, it's different. Like, I thought this was going to be like a pure smut, and it's not. Like, I'm 58% of the book, and they still haven't got together, but... Ooh, the tension! And I'm quite enjoying it. I feel like a little schoolgirl listening to this. I feel so stupid. I feel so stupid. And also, I've been reading The Dagger and the Flame, a little bit more of this, and this one, I'm on page 169 now, and basically, they've, like, fought each other, and she's, like, she dug her letter opener. Like, I'm at the point after that, and we find out that she has some power against the daggers. And I actually kind of understand the cloaks a little bit better now. I thought that they were stealing the shade, which is what I called, like, the drug, but it's really not a drug. It's like a substance, but it's like a magical substance that the daggers take. And the cloaks use it, but they use it like in their weapons and in their clothing, like the cloaks. And then the difference between the two groups is the daggers inhale it, like ingest it, and the cloaks don't do that. And the two groups were derived because of two brothers that were fighting like centuries ago. So I have a little bit more of like the backstory. And honestly, I feel like there might be a 5-star here. Either in A Touch of Darkness, dare I say it could be a 5-star if I like lose my mind, or I'm really enjoying this one and I thought I would, and it is one of my 5-star predictions. I don't know what it is about it. Assassins and like enemies to lovers, they're true enemies at the moment. There's like references to how they look and like, you know that they should be lovers, but they're definitely enemies right now. And there is a guy called Theo who is in the cloak group, and it seems that she is going to get with him. So there might be a little bit of a triangle too. My little doggy is here. Hello, doggy. Hello, doggy. Actually, my son and my partner are watching the American football, because my partner is American. So every Sunday he watches his Dolphins, even though they're not having the best year. He is a Dolphins fan, true and true. And so he's watching that right now. My son is with him. I don't want to watch that. And I was listening to A Touch of Darkness earlier, and I really just want to go back and listen to it. So I think I'm going to do that now. I'm actually in our bedroom, and that's why the lighting is so bad. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. Maybe you can see me better like this, but then you can see like the mess behind. This is like real life. This is real life mess. Real life mess. But yeah, it's only like 6:30, but it is like pitch black. I mean, the world is going into darkness. A touch of darkness, but yeah, it's very dark here. So we've already we didn't really have like a proper meal because my son actually went to a birthday party today. So he just had some pizza, and we had like sandwiches and stuff because we didn't want to cook. There's no point. So I am ready to hunker down now for the evening. And obviously my little baby boy here is ready too. He's ready to have his 12th nap of the day. Yeah, because he's a little old man and he likes to nap. So he's going to be napping. I'm going to be listening to A Touch of Darkness, probably playing Civilization, because I've been playing Civilization on my tablet for hours. And I want to get back to it. I want to dominate the world. Like, this is the best game that I've had. This has nothing to do with the books, but this is the best game that I've had so far. And normally I would play Civilization on my computer, but I noticed that they had an app for it on the Apple Store like a week ago, and ever since then, like, I had to buy it. That was like $9.99 or something, and I did buy it. So the fact that I bought it, I feel like I have to play it now, but I'm so sucked in. This is the first Civilization game, because I keep restarting the game because I keep like failing
but this is the first time that I'm playing where I feel like I have a chance of like taking over the world. So I'm just gonna have to start declaring war on everybody, but I need to build up my defenses. I'm really behind with technology. I don't even think I have the internet yet. I think other people have like helicopters and the internet and who knows what else, but I'm very behind. I don't know how you can advance your technology super fast. I think I'm unlocking everything too much instead of just unlocking one row. I think I'm unlocking like way too much all at once, and I don't know, maybe that's what it's, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna do that. Listen to A Touch of Darkness, but I just wanted to put this clip in because whether I use it or not, I'm assuming I will be using it. I just wanted to put this clip in. Oh, you can see me here. I wanted to put this clip in because, you know, every single update I have is in my other room, and it's a little bit boring. And also I'm like feeling a little excited about this book, so watch this space. Hey guys, it is the evening time. It's a few days later, so I wanted to give a little quick update because I think that I'm about to have a 5-star. So I wanted to talk to you first before I suddenly came up here and said, I found my 5-star. I read a little bit more of Dagger in the Flame by Catherine Doyle last night. I could have pushed through, I swear. I stopped myself because I think I wanted to enjoy the story and savor it, and I didn't want to just keep reading and reading and reading until I finished it. I am almost on page 300. I'm on 292. And it's got about just under 500 pages. So I don't have too much left. And that's why I thought, you know what, let me stop myself. Let me do something else. Maybe I hopped on YouTube. I watched some videos on my watch later. And then I went to bed because I am enjoying this book. I really, really am. It is YA fantasy. And I really do think I like YA fantasy. I know a lot of people don't. I don't know why. I find it so sweet. And also, I generally like that it's not 100% focused on the romance. It is a romantasy. It is enemies to lovers. And we are getting more of that lover side. Not really, but you know, they're talking to each other. There's things going on, but also the magic and like what's actually happened in the story is very interesting. It is reminding me of Throne of Glass in a way, like not entirely, but you know what? It also reminds me of Crescent City in a way too. Not really, but there is like some weird monster stuff happening. So maybe more like Crescent City from Sarah J. Maas, which I really generally didn't like. I gave it a 2-star. I know that's not a popular opinion, but I did not like that book at all. And the fact that it was almost 700 pages, I'm pretty sure it was almost 700 pages. It was just absurdly long, and I really didn't like any of it. But I generally like this. I think this is really good. And from what I've seen, this is her only book that she's written. I think this is a debut. And it's so sad to me that I'm reading books like this and then I see books on the Good Choice, like Goodreads Choice Awards, like nominees, where I know that there are books on there that are not very good. I haven't read all of them, but I know that there are books on there that are not very good. From either what I've heard of the books, what the concepts are, who the author is. And I feel like I'm starting to get why people get upset with those every single year. Like when I first started my channel, I really didn't know too much about anything in terms of booktube. I didn't know anything about BookTok. Still don't know anything about BookTok, so I don't really go on TikTok all that much. Actually, I haven't been on TikTok in ages, but you know, I started my channel because I found it a way for me to be more accountable to try to read, right? Because I really wanted to get back into reading, and I thought, you know what, I'll create a channel. It will give me the motivation to read books too, to talk about books. And honestly, at first I found it really, really hard to talk about books and really kind of get into the rhythm. And I'm still not into the rhythm because I really don't know what type of content creator I am in this realm. I've tried to do the 24-hour reading challenge. I've tried to do the, I've done a few other ones. I can't remember what they were. And, you know, it was pretty tough for me, but also last year was really tough for me anyway. And I went through kind of like a mental crisis, I would say, and a personal crisis too. So I think I started my channel and then I had some real bad like personal issues happen. So I didn't really, you know, get on to a good trajectory
for this channel. And also it is my second YouTube channel. So it's not like I'm dedicating all of my spare time to this. And also, I mean, there's a lot of alsos. I have a full-time job. I have a 4-year-old. And also, it takes time to read books. I cannot read books like other people. I don't know how people can read 20 to 30 books in a month. That is absurd to me. If I can read 10 books, that is a good month for me. I'm at 7 now, but that's with some DNFs. So that means I haven't actually read 7 books, but I've tried to. I've attempted to. Anyway, whatever. Regardless of that, that's just a little bit of a rant. But I kind of understand why people are just getting a little bit more bitter towards the Goodreads Choice Awards, because it is definitely more popularity versus what's actually in the books, or giving some authors a little bit more credibility, a little bit more exposure than others that probably just don't need it. I'm sure there's good books on there too. I do plan to read quite a few of the nominations, and I will be interested to see what wins. You know, as I did last year, I was quite interested too. But yeah, when I started my channel, I really didn't have too much opinion about any of that, because I was brand new and I was coming back to reading after 15 years. So it's been a really long time since I've read consistently. Other than that, all I've done is like read maybe during holidays, 1 or 2. I would read like maybe 1 or 2 books a year, and that was it. Like through all my 20s, I was really barely reading anything. So anyway, back to this book. I don't know why I'm talking about that. This video is long enough. You don't need to hear me ranting. If you are still here though, thank you so much. So I do think that this will be my 5-star. And so I wanted to just jump on here. Like I said, I think even though I do kind of see similarities between this and Crescent City, with like the monsters and something weird and sinister going on, and that also is kind of enemies to lovers, although it's more like annoyance to lovers. They're not necessarily enemies at any point. These are, and I actually like the distinction between that, because they literally are like trying to kill each other. One of them almost dies. And I like the arc because they're being put in these situations where it literally is like life or death, and the stakes are pretty high, and it's not, you know, just joking around. I also think this is one of the few books where I don't mind the side characters. I usually find the side characters really, really annoying, mostly like the friends of the main characters. I usually find them obscenely immature and annoying, and in this book I'm not finding them annoying at all. Also, I don't think there is a love triangle. I thought that there would be, but he just seems to be a really good friend. I don't know. Maybe it will shift because I do have another 200 pages to read. Well, a little bit less than that. But yeah, I wanted to jump on here and give my opinion about it, because if I come back to you, I'm going to read this tonight and I'm going to finish it tonight. If I come back to you later, obviously tomorrow, with a little update, and I tell you that it was massively disappointing and I really didn't enjoy it, it's going to be sad to see this clip when I'm editing. It's going to be sad because my hopes are like really high that I can finally end this video as well. I'm not going to lie. It is the 27th of November today. So it's actually Thanksgiving tomorrow. I am half English, half American. We're not actually going to celebrate tomorrow though, because we don't get like days off because we don't work for like a US company or anything, and we don't live in America. But we are going to celebrate on Friday, because Friday our schedules are a little bit less busy and there's just too much going on tomorrow. But we are going to be celebrating Thanksgiving, and I kind of want to get this vlog over with so I can just start reading books again and enjoy what I'm reading. It's not that I'm not enjoyed what I've been reading for this vlog. It definitely has picked up the reading bug that I have, and I think, you know, maybe because I know I'm reading this vlog, I know I have to be reading. Maybe this is a good sign. I don't know. Maybe also, like I said earlier in the video, mixing between audio and physical copies of books is good too. Just a quick update. I actually just started another vlog a few days ago. So that's another reason why I really want to end this vlog, because I have another idea of a vlog that I want to do, and I've given myself a time limit for it. So it's not ideal that I have them two running alongside each other for my own well-being at this point. It really isn't. But just, just in case Dagger in the Flame is not a 5-star and I still have to carry on, I did start reading To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods. So I just told you I've started a new vlog. So this is kind of for the new vlog. I'm basically, I don't want to like spoil it, but it's something to do with subscription boxes, right? Whatever. So I haven't read too much, to be fair, of this. I really didn't have any good like opinion about it going into it because I've seen all the discourse. I've seen all the criticism about this book. I personally can't speak to that, I don't think, because I'm not of the culture, and so I don't know how I really would be able to speak about it. But once I read the book, maybe I'll understand a little bit more. But for me, I'm mostly just an outsider, and I don't want to be an ignorant outsider at all. But at the same time, I also just want to read a fictional book. This is a fictional book. So, we'll see. It is also by a Chinese author. So I think the fact that people are very upset that she's written this book is interesting to me and intriguing. If it was written by like a white person or, anyone who wasn't Chinese, then I would kind of understand all the discourse, but we will see. We will see. But she does have like a letter in here explaining why she wrote the book, and it's all about her grandfather, and I thought that was sweet. So I don't know if it's just people being picky. I don't know if I'm being like a millennial and I'm like, oh, you're just taking it too seriously. I don't know if it's anything to do with that. But I have started reading this. I'm on page, I might eat all my words, so I'll just cut this out. I'm only on page 15, right? So I haven't read a lot, but I actually really like the writing style of this. And I do think I like books like historical fantasy books based in China. This is not the first one that I've read, and it won't be the last, but I think there's something about it that I generally find very intriguing and interesting. So there's that. So I did start reading this. I also have read and DNF'd another audiobook. I was trying to read Rhapsodic by Laura Thalas something. I can't remember her name. And I listened to about 20% of it. I started it yesterday. Oh no, was it yesterday or the day before? I think it was two nights ago. Yeah, maybe 2 nights ago. It was 2 nights ago because I was redoing my whole thing. I didn't film that because it was kind of a nightmare. It took me hours and hours to redo my bookshelves because I just have too many books that don't fit on there. That's just what it is. And anyway, so I listened to that and I really didn't like it because I don't like that there's an age gap. So basically what happens is there's like this bargainer and this woman. She's not really a woman though. She's a siren. I think she's a siren. And there's a bunch of other, like there's like a werewolf in the book as well. I don't really get the world. And because it's like a modern day world, she goes to the Isle of Man to a college, but then she's bargaining away parts of her soul to this random guy that she can just call upon when she makes a wish. I don't really understand how it works, but she's been doing that since she was 16. And the book says, where I come from, 16 is the legal age to be an adult. So that is said a few times in the book for the purpose, obviously, to put the reader at ease. But as a writer, why would you make the character that young when she's getting awfully close to somebody who's like centuries, if not infinitely old? Like he is like a god or whatever. I don't know what he is, but it's very creepy. So the book flashes back to when she was 16, and then it flashes forward to 7 years later. So in present day, she's not 16. She is in her 20s, but I don't feel good about the situation because in the flashbacks, they're very close and she's always talking about how gorgeous he is and they're cuddling each other and he calls her little cherub. And I find it really sick. I really do. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And actually I had just bought a book from this author because I've never heard of this author before, and I literally just bought a book from her. And then I saw Rhapsodic free to listen to on Audible and I was like, oh, that's the same author, I'll listen to it. And now I don't even know like if it's the type of author that I want to read from. But I just couldn't get over that. I thought the romance was really sick because of that, all of that. Not that there's anything going on yet, or apparently nothing really went on with them when she was young, other than the fact that I think that they might have kissed. But it's been alluded to, but it hasn't been yet confirmed, because I think the whole book, you flash forward and then you flash back and then you flash forward and then you flash back, and in the present day there's like a werewolf that she's going out with, and he gets really upset and he's gonna try to hunt Desmond down, who is the bargainer. And it's just, there are 4 books of this. I don't see how there are 4 books of this. And then I've seen people that I follow or that I know in real life give it like a 3 or 4 star. And maybe I'm giving up on it too soon, but or maybe I'm not understanding the romance at all, or the non-romance. But I can't get behind the fact that she was that young. I just can't get behind it. No. I think it's just the way it's written too, that he calls her cherub, like my little cherub. Even like 7 years later, he calls her cherub. Like, that is an infantile way to speak to anyone, especially somebody that you're physically attracted to. It is a weird thing to say. So that just, nah, that rubbed me the wrong way. It was kind of like, what am I listening to? Also, I just kept listening and not really getting what was going on. So maybe it was the audiobook. Maybe if I had the physical book, then I would be able to read it a little bit better. But I did not have a good experience with that. So after having A Touch of Darkness and having such a good experience reading that and, enjoying it, going there to now this one, I'm not enjoying it at all. I just realized, did I even tell you what I gave A Touch of Darkness? I've been filming so many different clips. I don't even know if I've told you what I felt with A Touch of Darkness. So basically, I really, really liked this book. And I was honestly going to give it a 5 star as I was listening to it. But then I ultimately gave it a 4 star because I thought the ending let it down. I really, really liked Hades. I really enjoyed the romance when it started picking up. I think it's funny because I think the last clip that you saw of me, I was saying that, I'm like almost 50% of the way in and there's no smut, there's nothing going on. But literally, I think in that same chapter that I started that night, the smut started, and it was like nonstop, and it's nonstop for the rest of the book. I mean, yeah, things happen in the book. There is like romantic parts, but it's done really well. I have to say, it actually is done really well. I didn't get that too much cringe from it. I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was done well. I fell for it. I enjoyed their romance. I believed it in a way, more so like on his end. Persephone was a little bit annoying because she just always questioned him all the time. But generally, I really, really liked the book. I listened to it and I read it really, really fast, and I really, really enjoyed it. But it wasn't my 5 star, unfortunately. And also there are 4 books for that series. I don't think I'm going to be reading any of those because I've seen that the ratings just keep going down. So if I'm giving this book a 4, I just don't think I'm going to enjoy the next ones. Also, I just don't think I have any interest in seeing how their romance progresses because they're together now. So I don't really care, So yeah, I'm going to read Dagger in the Flame, see if it's a 5 star. And then I will give you the good news, hopefully tomorrow. And then hopefully I can end this vlog and carry on with my new one. You guys, we did it. I found my 5 star. I was debating whether this really was a 5 star, but I think ultimately, yes, it is a 5 star. I've been really, really enjoying it. It's been a few days since I finished it. It's been a few days since I've spoken to you. I know this vlog is so long, so I appreciate if you made it all the way to the end. Thank you so much. But I really, really enjoyed this. It did set up the next book really nicely as well. I will say a part of me is like, oh, I wish they hadn't done what they did at the end of the book to one of the characters. I don't want to like give a spoiler, but I don't know. I was hoping that it would end differently, but it didn't take away my enjoyment from the whole book in general. And I would definitely say if you're a fan of Sarah J Maas and you're a fan of the like the Crescent City series, and also I guess Throne the Glass. Like it kind of, there's a little bit of everything in here in a way. I don't know, there's just something about it that really reminds me of that. But also it's not like a 600-page book. I would definitely recommend this. I think the writing was very pleasant, really easy, and I really liked the story in general and the little cute little enemies to lovers romance. I just thought it was just like everything I wanted, and it delivered. So I'm definitely gonna give it a 5-star. I'm so thankful that I can end this vlog. I don't even remember how many books I've read in this vlog or attempted to read. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. And yes, again, if you made it this far, thank you. And I will see you all in another video. Bye.